Hello to you. It's Relationships at Work, a leadership podcast helping you build workplace connection, improve that work culture, and avoid blind spots. I am your host, Russel Lolacher, a communications and leadership expert with a couple of successful decades in both those areas. Whole heap of curiosity, just like you too, on how we can make the workplace a better place. And we always can. Always we can make it better. This is a mini episode. These come out once a week. Every Thursday, generally, usually under about 10 minutes, just quick, valuable bits of information to help you for your mindset for the week coming up. These are all inspired by the Raw Note newsletter, by the way. If you haven't signed up for that yet, highly recommend you do so. Just go on LinkedIn. We got a company page. You can look up Relationships at Work or go to our website, relationshipsatworkshow.com. You can sign up for free right there too. Topic today is an interesting one. I'm a comms nerd, as I mentioned off the top, and this came up when I was getting my degree, and I've always been curious about it, and I've always taken any opportunity I could to learn a little bit more about it. And it really lit a fire under me too when I think about it from the workplace perspective. What I'm talking about is a thing that I had never heard of before. Maybe you have. Maybe that's just me, but it's called proxemics. And today we're going to talk about the power of proxemics. So back when I was digging into my communications education, a form of communication came up that I'd never heard of before, but I haven't stopped thinking about it. And this is decades later. I'm not going to talk about how old I am, but decades later. I'm talking about proxemics, which is, you know how we like our definitions, the study of how individuals use and perceive personal space in social interactions. Spatial communications, basically. And we've all felt it. We may not realize it, but we've all felt it. That moment when someone steps just a bit too close during a conversation, or when a meeting room feels more like a sardine can than a collaborative space. Think about where a manager's office sits in the organization compared to the team that they supervise. Is it close by? Is it far away? Is it on a different floor? Is it below them? I remember one office I worked in where the senior manager had a desk that was a foot higher than all the other team members. And that person had to literally talk down to anyone when they approached them. What do you think that communicated to everybody else on that floor? This type of communication is about understanding the unspoken boundaries that influence how uncomfortable or comfortable we feel in different interactions. Think of it as the difference between a whisper and a shout. Both communicate, but the impact is vastly different depending on proximity. Now, proxemics is typically broken into 4 zones of connection. But keep in mind, this is all different based on individuals. That's how communication is. It's always different based on the sender and the receiver. Okay. So of these 4 zones, I'm going to walk you through them. The first zone, and I want you to keep thinking about work when you think about this. The first is intimate space, which is about 0 to 18 inches. This is generally reserved for close friends, family, those with deep personal connections. I'm sure you might be thinking of an example or a situation where a colleague or a manager, they entered that space uninvited, and it maybe triggered discomfort or anxiety, regardless of the intent. Maybe they didn't mean to make people feel like this, but they do. The second zone is personal space, and this is about 18 inches to 4 feet. Sorry, I'm going with the imperial system here. It's just where my mind is right now. You can transfer that to metric if you like. This is where casual conversations with colleagues generally happen, this personal space. It's close enough to feel engaged, but far enough to maintain a sense of comfort. This typically is the sweet spot for one-on-one meetings or check-ins that require things like trust and connection. The third zone for proxemics is social space. This is about 4 to 12 feet. It's perfect for group discussions, for team meetings, or less personal interactions. There's enough space for collaboration without feeling cramped. Leaders often stand at this distance when they address teams. They want to look like they got authority, so that's the distance they provide. But it also makes people still feel comfortable, and it's good for a conversation. And last is public space. Now, this is about 12 feet and beyond. It can go quite a bit further out. This is ideal for presentations, town halls, speeches. The distance here creates a psychological buffer that allows leaders to address larger groups without overwhelming anyone's personal boundaries. It's safe. Now, leaders who understand proxemics are not just aware of where they stand physically, but they're also aware of where they stand relationally. So here's an example. Crowding someone during a feedback session, that can trigger defensiveness. While standing too far during a moment that requires empathy can actually come off as cold or unapproachable. Now, when we master the art of proxemics, we can enhance our ability to connect meaningfully with our teams. This is especially crucial in hybrid or flexible work environments where physical space is constantly being negotiated and renegotiated. Even in virtual or remote settings, the concept of space, I'm using air quotes here, it matters. Think of a video call screen positioning or camera angles or how close one leans into the screen during conversations. What is that communicating? So the question I'm going to propose for this mini episode is, how can we be more intentional with proxemics to improve trust and connection in our day-to-day interactions? Well, first, we can observe and adapt. Pay attention to how colleagues react when you enter their personal space. Are they stepping back? Are they leaning in? By understanding cues like this, it can help us adjust our proximity to enhance that comfort or trust. Another thing we can do is position with purpose. Maybe experiment with space in different contexts. When giving feedback, consider standing or sitting at an appropriate distance that communicates respect but also support. For a brainstorming session, maybe use a round table or a standing desk. Yes, the type of desk we use, huge piece of proxemics. For difficult conversations, try a more side-by-side approach. Now, proxemics can change the tone and openness of that discussion by just where we situate ourselves according to the other person. A third thing we can think about is mind the meeting room, the one we're going to set everything up in. In team settings, seating arrangements, they really do matter. Placing yourself in a way that's neither too dominant nor too distant, well, it invites open dialogue when we do stuff like this, and it also can reduce that hierarchical barrier. You know those bosses that sit at the head of the table automatically because they deserve it or they feel like they are entitled to it? That can be communicating maybe not what's intended when you're looking for that trust and that connection. And last, think about that virtual space awareness, because we are working a lot more virtually. On video calls, consider your distance from the camera and the layout of your background. This is all communications. A cluttered or distant setup can actually feel disengaged. While being too close, it can feel invasive. Yes, even if you're physically not in the room, it can feel invasive if somebody's too leaning in when it comes to the camera. So finding that balance, it can keep virtual connections good, strong. Understanding proxemics isn't about rigid rules. It's really about awareness, because even though I broke down those zones and approximate distances, it's different based on different people, different cultures, different backgrounds, everything. This is about awareness. It's about self-awareness, and it's also about situational awareness. I know we talk a lot about that on this show. Awareness is so essential to great leadership. In every conversation, every meeting, and every casual chat, space is also a piece of that communication. So treat it like a tool. Leaders who know how to use it effectively are more likely to build stronger and more trusting relationships. So make sure as you grow in your own leadership journey that proxemics is also a tool in your toolkit when it comes to communications. And that brings to a close another episode of Relationships at Work, a mini episode. I'll have you know. We are the Leadership Podcast, helping you build workplace connection, improve culture, and avoid blind spots. I am always here for you, Russel Lolacher. If you ever want to reach out, feel free. The email is hello@russellolacher.com, and I'm always interested in hearing from you. Ideas, suggestions, feedback, comments, all of it. I just want to hear from you because I love that connection. That's huge for me. All right, we will talk again soon, and I look forward to it. Take care.